we were talking about a possible massive cold event coming from the east, especially around the time of Valentine's Day. The weather models, they've kind of backtracked a little bit, and there appears to be a little wedge that drives in between the cold air masses and conveniently sits itself over the United Kingdom. This is what I mean. I say it so often that the weather models can change, and inevitably they do. I only relay what I can see when I'm looking at the weather models to give an indication of what yet's to come. What I didn't see really was the amount of snow that possibly could come over the next few days and a bit later on in the year. Yeah, I know it's winter, usual British weather, and that's the way it rolls, but it's all interesting and exciting stuff. Glorious, beautiful weather, so much high pressure that's across the country right now, and please take advantage of it. Get out there and enjoy that winter sunshine while you can. The vitamin D will do you the world of good. But it's not just the sun that you're looking for, you're after the other meteorological event that begins with an S. Let's have a look at the latest charts to see where the snow could go. So whiz into the wonderful page of Metrec. We're going to start off with the risk of snow in percentage, 10 to 100%. Now you can clearly see high pressure is definitely dominant across the United Kingdom at the moment. That's Thursday the 6th of Feb, and this is in the morning. Now if we're going to scoot along a little bit by 24 hours, you can see that the snow in Europe is starting to make its way towards United Kingdom. That's in 36 hours on the 7th of February. A little bit of snow now appearing on the prone areas of Wales. Now as we go into the 8th of February at midnight, you can clearly see that that risk is increasing. This doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get snow because it's only a deep green colour, which is 10%. You want to be looking for the reds and the oranges. Anything really above 50%, you've got a great chance of seeing the snow. Let's scoot a little bit further to the 8th of February, and this is midday, still in the greens. You've got the prone areas that are going to see snow, tops of the mountains and the hills, of course you are. It's this time of the year, and then as this goes along, then that risk diminished for it to come back again, increasing, where a lot of the country on the 11th of February has a risk of snow, but again it's deep green. It's only 10%, at the most 20%. Again, the prone areas that showing the chance of seeing any snow. So we're scooting off to around Valentine's Day, and it's still showing a potential for snow. You can have a look at the most of Europe at the moment has got a risk of snow, but again it's less than 50%. And then we scoot a bit further on into time frame where we're getting a little bit far ahead now, 18th, and we can clearly see that risk of snow doesn't really get above 50% for low-lying areas. Now if we want to, this was based on the risk of snow, which is based on a GFS model, but we'll go to last night's model risk run, which was done at midnight, the 6th of Feb. Now I was talking to you about this that's coming all the way up here. That's separating the air masses, the cold air masses, which originally were going to come into the country, but this has sort of come up, and this is mainly from a low pressure that's interfering with what's going on. Now this is 850, that's way up in the atmosphere. That's the temperature's way up in the atmosphere. That's not what's down on the ground level. It's something that meteorologists or weather amateurs will do. They'll scoop right up in the atmosphere just to see what the air temperature is, to get an idea of basically the patterns that are going to form. To the right hand side is net weather's snow risk level. Now this is interesting because I was comparing that this morning, and as we're scooting along, and I'll leave both maps up, you can see that the risk on the continent coming out of Normandy is much higher than what was said on Metcheck. And I've said this before, the models can read differently at different times of day. Now that encroaches itself into the country, and this is the 7th now, which is only a day away, at 9 o'clock at night. So down in the south end of the country, Dorset, a little bit of Devon and Cornwall areas, possibly around here, all the way up to mainly the moors of Devon, and it makes itself towards the east, Wessex, Essex, all this sort of area here, where there is a slight risk. If we go back a time frame, you can see a little bit better that at 6 o'clock on the 7th, then you've got a higher risk. Essex, all this area, Dorset, all around here, of a risk of snow. So we're going to scoot a little bit further. We'll go into Saturday itself, say midday on Saturday. That whole snow risk area disappears and it finishes just on the mountains of Wales and of course in Devon. And that's basically it. No snow event. It goes off into the 10th, where you've got some coming in from the east again, affecting Suffolk, Essex and Kent, those counties there, as the risk brings itself over to the west before it gets. The reason why it goes red, so intense red, is this is the backbone of Britain. This is the Pennines, these are the mountains and the highlands of Wales. So you're going to get a higher risk because they're elevated. For towns and cities, obviously we don't live in the mountains, do we? So that's Monday the 10th, and then we scoot off where we've got a complete blank of snow chance. This is going towards Valentine's, but you can see over here on the 850s, this milder air is still at play, bringing itself all the way in. It's such a messy feature that's coming across the country, and it's protecting us from the cold. Again, it could change. Scooting across towards the 15th, you've got a little bit that appears Snowdonia in Wales, but over here we've got this low pressure that I mentioned before in the last outlook, and it might influence the rest of the weather that occurs there afterwards depending on the track. You can see that it wants to bring these low pressure systems into the country, which disrupts the air masses. As you can see now, gets broken away, and then the cold air sinks down. Now, as you probably noticed on the right hand side, all of a sudden there's a Snowmageddon event, which you can guarantee Twitter's going to be alive with. Again, look, this is the 22nd of February. It's a long way off, and I sort of put my neck out in the previous videos about the potential for a beast from the east. Now everyone was talking about it. It was even showing on most of the weather models, which gave everyone confidence. Sometimes you get an outliner, a weather model that will say, oh, there's a Snowmageddon event, and the rest don't. So you don't really get much confidence to that, really. But we did have a lot of confidence. So it looks like the pooling of cold air and a few other factors of the potential split of the polar vortex and whatnot was going to influence our weather. But we ended up with that big ridge of milder air that sort of come across the country and protected us from the cold. Maybe it's delayed it. Maybe it's yet to come. But what I have noticed, that sun that's come out, the early spring bulbs are poking through. And I noticed a few daffodils that were showing their heads early already. I mean, we're only in the beginning of February, aren't we? And it was really great to see. I was out and about a lot yesterday in the beautiful sunshine, and I had a ball just being in the sunshine. Now on my Twitter, I posted a photograph of the sunset over Blackpool looking towards Central Pier, unhindered by any clouds, and it's the same today. So make sure you get out there and enjoy the sunshine. But I know you've got your eyes peeled, those snow lovers, to this chart here around the 20th and 22nd of February. Yes, there seems to be a higher risk of snow. This is taking it all the way to the max now of the snow risk. Who knows? But we'll reset ourselves and we'll look at the temperatures. So we're going back today, which is the 6th of February, and you can see that we've got the minimum temperature, the maximum and the minimum temperatures across the United Kingdom. So obviously again, on the higher elevated areas, you're going to get much colder temperatures you are down on the land. I'm going to scoot across this just to show you basically the state of play. Now, there's not much in the way of double figures that are showing at the moment. Out in the Atlantic or the Celtic Sea area, you've got double figures that are creeping in. Considering that there could be a snow event, it's not too bad. But on the ground level itself, if we take ourselves to midday, say on the 10th, then you can clearly see the colder temperatures over the Highlands of Scotland, the prone areas of Ireland, and of course on Wales, and there's the Pennines as well. So it makes sense that there's a higher risk of you getting the snow on them levels. Fly off towards Valentine's Day, you can see that the much colder temperatures that are going to come across the country, so we are looking at definitely colder temperatures that are en route for us, but nothing major. Yeah, -2s, -3s, okay, but we're not talking like -11s that we were doing way back in January. The cold continues, of course it is, because it's the British winter time. You've got some double figures that are now starting to appear in France. This is the 17th, Monday the 17th. Look at this, 17 degrees. This is summertime weather. Even in the United Kingdom, we've got 12s. This is at 6 o'clock on the 17th. Let's go back a little bit and see if we can find ourselves any more greater temperatures. No, I think it's just around about 12s that we can see at the moment. But that's the air temperature. So if you're in France and it's 17 degrees and you've got the sun out coming down on you, you can easily add another couple of degrees on there. So that's really nice. I think, personally myself, I was asked this the other day, what do I think long term is going to happen weather-wise? I think we've got the pooling of cold air that really desperately wants to come into the country, and that hinting the snow banging on the door greater than ever. But there's a lot of warm air to the south of us right now, and the jet stream obviously wants to get itself back into shape. So to me, I feel like when the opportunity arises, we will possibly get a half decent early Easter, if you know what I mean. I can't really say when, but to me I get a feeling that it's there and it's waiting and it wants to come in. Do you remember during COVID, the lockdown, when the weather was fantastic? We went into lockdown early, didn't we? But then the weather turned really nice, which was a blessing for a lot of us all. I kind of think there's a hint of a similar thing going on, and I hope so, because I want some great thunderstorms. I want to get out there and start chasing some thunderstorms and start providing that content for you. So there's my little update of what I think is possibly yet to come. Thank you for all the kind comments on the channel. I hope I make sense in the way that I deliver this to you, and I hope you understand that what I read one day isn't necessarily what is going to happen, but following that trend, that pattern of what you see repeating, gives you the confidence of what possibly could occur. Weather forecasting is very difficult to do, especially for an amateur like myself that only looks at certain parameters. I don't look at everything. I certainly don't have a supercomputer and boffin brains of Britain to help me. I've got my Weather Fans team, which you'll often find them lurking about on the Weather Fans Facebook page, so please by all means join us on there. And of course Michael does his lives as well, where he does a much more in-depth view of what they think the weather is going to play out for us across the country. And if you can help the channel, here's a little hint of what you can do. Become a Storm Chaser Nodrog supporter. It helps towards funding our storm chasing activities and providing content on this channel. Seriously, without your help, a lot of this content would never make it. Anything you do is really appreciated, even if you just like and subscribe. If you want to become a supporter, check the link in the description area down below. Anything is very appreciative, even just subscribing and liking to anything that I provide for you. That's it, less of the waffle. I'm going to leave you all to it. I will return to do another outlook when things are looking a little bit more spicier, or give you a general idea of what yet is to come. But thank you for your time, and don't forget to like and subscribe and keep your eyes to the skies. I'm going to get fed up of saying that one day, aren't I? Ta-ra.